Okay, so ready to dive into something kind of cool today?
Always.
It's cool, but also kind of controversial.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's ice baths.
Ice baths, all right.
You know, that thing athletes do.
Right,
They
right.
just like sit in ice water after a hard workout.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What?
It's not just for the pros anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like dancers and weekend warriors, just like everyday people.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and you sent me some really interesting stuff about all this.
I did.
Yeah. Like there's a Wikipedia article on ice baths and nutrient timing. And there's a blog post about like general athlete recovery techniques and then some like more in-depth pieces about how the elite athletes recover.
Wow, covering all the bases, huh?
Yeah. So it seems like ice baths are getting more popular,
Yeah, it seems like it.
but there's all this back and forth. Like, are they actually good for you?
Yeah, I've heard both sides.
Yeah. Or like, are they bad for you?
Right.
So let's break it all down. What does like the science actually say
Yeah.
about this whole chili
It
practice?
really is fascinating. Like, how'd they even become mainstream?
Right.
It used to be like, this niche thing
Yeah.
just for athletes.
Have you ever tried an ice bath?
I can't say that I have.
Me neither.
It sounds pretty intense.
It does. It does. But you know what's funny?
Mm.
All the different terms people use.
Oh, yeah, there are a lot.
Ice bath, cold water immersion, cold plunge.
Through therapy, yeah.
It's like everyone's got their own word for it.
Right. But it's all the same thing.
It is. It is. And, it's not new.
No.
No. Like cold therapy goes way back.
How far back are we talking?
According to Wikipedia, like ancient Egypt.
Wow, really? Okay, so they might have been onto something then.
Right. But using it specifically for like athletic recovery, that's newer.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Wikipedia even mentions Paula Radcliffe.
Oh, yeah, the runner.
Yeah, she said ice baths were part of her recovery when she won the 10,000 meters at the European Championships.
Oh, wow. So, like, top-level athlete using them.
Yeah, but it wasn't just ice baths, right? I mean, she
Okay.
probably had a whole routine.
Oh, for sure. Like, athletic recovery, it's not just one thing.
Right.
Ice baths could be a part of it,
Yeah,
but it's got to be, like, a whole strategy.
makes sense. So, okay, let's say someone is going to try an ice bath.
Right.
How cold are we talking?
Well, Wikipedia says a real ice bath is 15 to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. And you only want to be in there for like 5 to 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All the sources agreed that, like, don't go past 20 minutes.
Okay. Good advice.
There's also a difference between an ice bath and a cold bath.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a cold bath is like 60 to 75 degrees.
Oh, okay.
And some people think it's just as good.
Huh.
Or maybe even safer.
Okay, so there's options, depending on how much cold you can handle.
Exactly.
But even 5 minutes sounds rough.
It's no walk in the park.
I know. There's this quote in the Wikipedia article
Well,
from this weightlifter, Karen Marshall,
okay.
and she described it as like agony for the first 2 minutes
Hmm.
and then total numbness.
Wow.
And get this, she shivered for like 2 hours afterwards.
No kidding.
Yeah, even though she was in California.
Oh, wow. Shows how powerful that cold exposure is.
Yeah, it really does, sticks with you.
It does.
So let's talk about like the good stuff.
Okay.
The potential benefits, especially for athletes.
Right.
I know a lot of people say ice baths are great for muscle soreness.
Yeah, the cold is supposed to, like, constrict your blood vessels,
Yeah.
reduces inflammation so you don't feel as achy.
Right, right. Makes sense. But there's a catch.
Oh.
Yeah, Wikipedia mentions this meta-analysis,
Okay.
and it found that cold water immersion prevent muscle growth after you lift weights.
That's interesting.
I know. I thought ice baths were supposed to be good for recovery. Doesn't, like, less inflammation help with that?
It's not that simple, unfortunately. There's, like, a lot going on.
Oh, okay.
So the cold might help with inflammation in the short term, yeah.
Right.
But it could also, like, mess with your body's natural repair process in the long term.
So it's like you might feel less sore,
Yeah.
but your muscles might not grow as much.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's all about weighing the pros and cons, you know?
Right.
What are your goals?
Yeah.
It all depends.
Definitely not one size fits all then.
Nope.
I also saw that Wikipedia mentioned contrast bath therapy.
Oh, yeah.
What's that all about?
So that's where you alternate between hot and cold water.
Oh, okay.
And it could be good for recovery.
Okay.
lower heart rate even,
Yeah?
and something called blood lactate levels.
Okay, so it's like you're going from a hot tub to an ice bath.
Yeah, pretty much back and forth.
That sounds wild.
It does, yeah. But there might be downsides too, like maybe your performance is worse in your next workout, especially if you don't spend the same amount of time in the hot and cold water.
Huh, wow. So there's like a lot to think about with all this. These different hydrotherapy techniques, you know?
Right, it's a lot to take in.
It is. So, okay, we've talked about ice baths, contrast therapy, but what about the basics?
The basics.
Yeah, like sleep, nutrition.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
blog post was all about that too. Like,
Yeah.
sleep is so important for recovery.
Yeah, for sure.
7 to 9 hours a night, they recommend for athletes.
Makes sense.
And then you got to like replenish everything.
Replenish.
Yeah, like carbohydrates, protein, electrolytes, all that
Right, gotta refuel.
after your workouts.
Yeah, essential stuff.
I always hear about electrolytes, but remind me again, what are those exactly?
They're minerals.
Okay.
Like sodium, potassium, magnesium, all that.
Right.
And they're like, is super important for your muscles, your nerves.
Right.
You lose them when you sweat.
That's why you got to replenish them.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And then there's this whole nutrient timing thing.
Oh, yeah.
The Wikipedia article mentioned it.
Right.
Is that important for recovery too?
It can be,
Mm.
especially if you're really focused on like building muscle.
Okay.
So nutrient timing is all about like strategically planning when you eat certain things, like protein, carbs.
So it's not just what you eat, but when you eat it too.
Yep, that's the idea.
Wow, okay.
They're not being necessary for everyone, but
Right.
if you're really serious about your gains,
Yeah.
something to consider.
All right, so back to ice baths then. It seems like it's not a sure thing, is it?
Right.
It might be good for soreness, but maybe not for muscle growth. And it really all depends on like what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. It's not a magic solution.
No magic solutions. So what do you think?
I think, more research is needed to really figure out the long-term effects.
That's a good point. More research is always good.
for sure.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground here in part 1 of our ice bath deep dive. Like, we went from ancient history to modern science.
And don't forget the potential benefits and the risks.
Right. And we talked about how important sleep and nutrition are for recovery, and even that nutrient timing thing.
It's been a whirlwind of information.
It has, but we're not done yet.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. In part 2, we're going to dive deeper into the potential risks.
Okay.
And we'll look at some other interesting ways people have used cold therapy.
Sounds fascinating. I'm ready for part 2.
Me too. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back, ready to jump back into this whole ice bath thing.
Let's do it.
We talked about some potential benefits, right?
We did, yeah.
But also some downsides, like maybe it's not so great for building muscle.
Right. It's complicated.
It is. And, with anything that's like supposed to be good for you,
Yeah.
there are probably also some risks.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with something as intense as an ice bath.
Yeah. Right. I mean, come on. You're basically jumping into ice water.
Yeah, it's not exactly a relaxing warm bath.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So what are some things people should, watch out for?
Okay, so the Wikipedia article actually mentions some pretty serious risks.
Oh, like what?
Like hypothermia
Okay, yeah.
and shock
Right, that makes sense.
and even
Yeah.
sudden cardiac death.
Well, okay. That's,
Yeah, not something to mess around with.
no, definitely not.
Yeah.
So I guess, talk to your doctor first, right?
Well, absolutely. Before you even think about trying an ice bath,
Right.
especially if you have any health conditions.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, let's say you've talked to your doctor.
All right.
They give you the thumbs up.
Okay.
What else should you, keep in mind?
Well, I think moderation is key.
Yeah, like with anything, probably.
Yeah, even if you're totally healthy, start slow.
Okay.
Maybe just 5 minutes at first.
Right.
And then you can gradually increase the time
Okay, good advice.
as your body gets used to it.
Right. And probably, listen to your body.
Right, yeah, that's the most important thing. If you start feeling dizzy,
Yeah.
short of breath,
Right.
chest pain, anything like that, get out
Yeah.
and call your doctor.
Better safe than sorry.
Always.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think about
Yeah.
how much the human body can handle.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like Wikipedia mentioned those extreme athletes,
Oh, right, yeah.
the ones who can withstand freezing temperatures for hours.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It really makes you wonder, what are the limits?
It does. But I'm guessing those people are special cases.
Oh, for sure. They train for that.
Yeah. Most people shouldn't just jump in an ice bath for an hour.
No, definitely not.
So, okay, how do we put this all together then?
Put it all together.
Yeah. Like, ice baths might be good for recovery, but they also have these risks.
Yeah. It is a bit of a puzzle.
It is. So what's the solution?
Well, I think the main thing is like ice baths are just one tool
Okay.
in your recovery toolbox.
Right, yeah.
They're not like the magic answer,
Right.
but they might be helpful if you use them as part of a bigger plan.
So, like, sleep and nutrition are still important.
Absolutely, those are the foundation.
Yeah.
And then there's things like active recovery.
Oh, right. Yeah. What's that again?
So active recovery is basically like easy exercise on your rest days.
Oh, okay.
So like walking, swimming,
Right.
gets the blood flowing, but it's not too strenuous.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not just about ice baths. It's about, like, thinking about recovery in a broader way.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you.
Right.
Maybe ice baths are part of it.
Yep.
Maybe they're not.
Right, right.
Maybe you just focus on active recovery and sleep and food.
Okay.
It's really individual.
So find what makes you feel good.
Yeah, and what helps you reach your goals.
All right, so it comes down to personal preference, I guess.
To a certain extent, yeah.
No magic solutions, just,
Smart strategies.
yeah, smart strategies.
And of course, always talk to your doctor.
Right, right. Can't forget that.
Especially if you have any health concerns.
Good advice. Well, I think we've covered a lot here.
We have, yeah.
We talked about the potential benefits of ice baths and the risks
Right.
and how incredible the human body is
It is amazing.
and how important it is to, like, think about recovery in a holistic way.
Yeah, it's not just one thing.
Anything else we should touch on before we wrap this up?
I think we hit the main points. But it's always good to remember, like, the research is ongoing.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We're learning new things all the time. So, stay curious.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
Stay informed.
And don't be afraid to experiment a little.
That's good advice. Find what works for you.
Exactly.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our ice bath deep dive.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've talked about potential benefits, potential downsides. We even went back to ancient times.
Right. And who could forget those incredible endurance athletes pushing their bodies to the limit?
Yeah, amazing stuff. But we also made it clear that ice baths aren't some magic cure-all.
Oh, definitely not. A holistic approach to recovery is key.
Right. It's all about finding what works best for you individually. So as we wrap up this chilly exploration, what's the big takeaway? Are ice baths, like, good or bad?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? The million-dollar question. And unfortunately, it's not that simple.
Yeah, I figured.
The research is still ongoing. But here's what we do know. There's evidence that they might help with muscle soreness and inflammation.
Okay, so that's a point in favor of ice baths, but we also talked about those potential downsides, like maybe they affect muscle growth.
Right. And we can't forget those risks. Hypothermia, shock even.
Yeah.
Even those scarier cardiac events. It's serious stuff.
It is. So it seems like you got to weigh those potential benefits against the risks.
Exactly.
And make a decision based on, your own situation.
Absolutely. And like we've said before, talk to your doctor
Oh, yeah, for sure.
before you try anything new, especially if you have any health concerns.
That's good advice. It's easy to, like, get caught up in all the hype.
Yeah, you can forget that what works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
And even if you do decide to try ice baths, start slowly, listen to your body, and don't forget about those other important recovery strategies.
Right. Sleep, nutrition,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the foundation.
So be informed, be cautious, and take a holistic approach. I think that sums it up, right?
I think so, yeah. Ice baths might have a place, but they're not the only answer.
Well said.
Yeah.
I hope our listeners feel like they have the information they need now to make their own decisions about ice baths and to explore other recovery techniques too, whatever might be right for them.
It's all about being proactive, taking charge of your own health and wellness.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's it for our ice bath deep dive. As always, thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.